Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us today on Talks on Tuesday. And this is where we get together and talk about life's little mysteries and share in a safe space about all the things that we think about and want to think about and want to talk about that normally the mainstream media just doesn't pick up on. So some of you are here in person with us. Some may join us as we continue on, and others will be watching us on YouTube as we post later. So thanks, everybody. And if you are watching us on YouTube, be sure to like us and leave some comments and subscribe. And I think that's it. Oh, we'll be talking for about 30 minutes, and everybody here is welcome to join in. And if you can't speak, you can certainly type messages into the chat and we'll share them for you. So today I thought that it would be fun to talk about love. And I mean, that's a great topic. And how do we show our love and what does that mean? And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because over the weekend, my husband and I had kind of an unexpected event happened to us, and it was very loving. So what happened was my neighbor graduated from college, a nursing program, and her mom, who was also my neighbor, was going to give her a big party. And so she invited us, and she told us that the event was not too far from our house. And these are people who we've lived next to for 5 years, and we're friendly with them, but we're not like super duper friendly. It's more like, we see them on the street and we'll chit chat a little bit, but we haven't I think the only time we really kind of hung out together was 4 years ago when the graduated from high school right at the beginning of, or right during COVID, and they had a party for her then, and we kind of debated if we should go over, but we decided to mask up and go over and join the celebration because we figured a lot of other people probably wouldn't be there. So we went. And they're very nice, they're nice neighbors and we get along. So they invited us to this event. And then they told us that it wasn't happening near our house, but it was happening actually kind of like way across town. And it was kind of late afternoon on Sunday, and that's really, unless we're out and about already, that's usually kind of a downtime for us. We're kind of winding down from the weekend, and my husband's kind of getting ready to go back to work on Monday, and we didn't really want to go, but we felt we should. We got her a gift and a card, and also they had some out-of-town relatives who came in for the event, and when she invited us, she told us how she was having trouble finding places for everybody to stay. Airbnbs, there just weren't any good ones in our neighborhood. And she asked us if she can rent our spare bedroom to put some of her out-of-town relatives in. And, we said, oh, of course. And of course, you're not going to rent it, but they're welcome to stay with us. So they did. And we didn't really interact with them much because they arrived very late Friday night. Their plane was late, and then as soon as they got up in the morning, we left them a little welcome card and said feel free to come up and have coffee with us in the morning, but they just went right out the door and went next door and had breakfast with their family. So they would come and go, but we didn't really talk with them much, so we thought, well, we should go at least to see them at the event and offer our congratulations and, give her the card and the little gift we got for her. And we thought, just from what the invitation looked like, we thought it was kind of an open house where you just come, hang out for a little while, maybe have a little bite to eat, and then leave. And we ended up spending 3 hours there. We were going to spend like maybe 45 minutes, and we ended up being there for 3 hours. And it went by so quickly. And then when my husband and I did finally leave, we both sat in the car and looked at each other, and this went like, wow. It was amazing. It was so incredible. So it was very well organized. They had this beautiful setup with all these fancy tables and nice display, and they had this wonderful buffet, and they told everyone where to sit at their tables. And while we were eating, they had a program. One of our neighbor's friends was MC, and she had this program that she was all set up. And first, the graduate got up and gave a little welcome speech and thanked everybody, and it was a beautiful speech. And then the MC talked about, she'd had people from the audience kind of share some of their thoughts about the graduate. So, hi, Renee. We're talking about an event that my husband and I went to over the weekend that really affected me. And so the people got up and were sharing their thoughts with the young woman who just graduated. And the feeling of love in that room was just palpable. It was so beautiful and so strong. And I mean, it just like the vibration was just like, it just like elevated everybody. And everybody was, I think, was smiling. And I was sitting yesterday kind of just thinking about it a little bit more and just kind of enjoying the feeling. And I thought about how in the past, Eric and Jillian, and for those of you who aren't aware of reconnective healing, Dr. Eric Pearl and Jillian Fleer would often do different presentations on the Reconnective Life Community platform. And one of the presentations they did was about love and kind of the difference between unconditional love and conditional love, and being love versus being in love. One is just really kind of the infiniteness of love, and the other is kind of a finite feeling and constriction of love. And I was just thinking about that, and how at the event everybody who stood up and talked to this young woman was just being love. I mean, they were just being love, and they were so in love with her for her being, for who she was. And it wasn't like, oh, you had this great achievement, so we love you, but it was like, we love you, and the fact that you hit this milestone and graduated from college is just like the icing on the cake. I mean, people came wide and far to celebrate with her, from as close as next door, all across the country, and as far away as Africa, and really came a long ways. But it was just beautiful. And yet there's also ways that we can, and they talked about this, little ways in our day-to-day life that we can really be love and remember love and express our love. And so I thought I'd just put that out there with and see, what came up around that. So what are you guys' thoughts?
A lot of thoughts. It's hard to even articulate what this brings up. I'll say I'm working on being love, but I'm not always successful. And there's a steep learning curve for some of us to shedding those judgmental ways of looking at the world and just holding thoughts of being comforting rather than critical. It's hard. It's hard, but it is so rewarding when you're in that moment of love.
I think, Mary, all the ego, the judgment and the ways we see the world, I think it really served a purpose for us to navigate through. But it comes a point where we can just let it all go, as we're growing up and, through our teen years and young adult. I think all those judgment navigations kind of serve a purpose to get us on our way, but letting it go later is okay. And don't forget about self-love, Mary, to be easy on yourself, that you're doing a pretty darn good job.
A Course in Miracles, one of the main things that comes across in that work is letting go of attack thoughts. And it goes both ways, like, oh, they've attacked me, they've done this to me, they, they feel this way about me, or, ooh, this is how I feel about them, where that's it. Once we accept that they are us, it gets a little easier when we can hold that in mind.
Yeah. It's having a different sense of direction that things are happening. Like things are not happening to us. Things are just manifesting, happening, existing, becoming, there, but it's all through us.
Mm-hmm.
Through it's our movie. It's our journey, our little fun romp we have looking for the treasure.
Yeah, and that's beautifully stated.
Yeah.
And I like that because it's a way to remember the fun romp, to be playful. And for me, I find that helpful. Even like when you look at all the stuff that's going on in the world, and there's a lot of really serious stuff happening, but I try to look at it more as kind of entertainment, from an entertainment perspective, than, oh my God, this is, that perspective. And it's easier then to kind of just take that step back and keep it a little bit more impersonal and less about me, you know. And but you're right, Mary. I mean, it's almost like always a project.
Yes. Yeah. If it were easy, though, everyone would do it.
We wouldn't be here. Yeah.
I think one thing that helps me is, especially when I watch the news and I get all kind of her, um, I try to picture whoever the instigator of these poor feelings is as a child dressed up as an adult.
Mm.
And if you see kids playing grown up, like, remember I used to put on my mom's high heels and walk around with her pearls and stuff. If I just picture these people like that, it helps a lot to think, oh, it's just silliness. It's just a game. We're just play acting here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And just holding the love that I was feeling on Sunday. It's in that whole room. It was just like, it's a good reminder for me that, there is another way, that there's another perspective. And, just kind of going through the little things. Like, my husband and I have three bio ladies that we use in the morning to make coffee. And they're kind of a little espresso type coffee thing. And they're kind of a pain to clean. He fills them every night, and then I usually clean them and put them in the dish rack in the morning. And it sometimes he'll, like, if he's grinding coffee or something, he'll clean them. And it's like, oh, it's nice that he cleaned the coffee pots today because it's a little pain. But when I do that, it is almost like, this is my little gift to my husband. I'm going to clean the coffee pots for him so he can. And then his little gift is getting everything ready in the evening for me. I just go down and turn it on. And so, yeah, there's those types of little things that are that connection with being love. Uh,
Yeah. I think both of my husbands gave me many opportunities to learn patience. I can view it that way now. In the moment, it was not so easy, but yeah. Oh, thank you for giving me this opportunity to become more patient.
right. Yeah. And in some ways, that's a gift. That's a gift
Yeah.
to us.
It's a gift to see it that way.
Mm. Yeah.
And since there is no time, I guess I've always had that gift. So,
Well, what is the sort of lesson about allowing other people to be as they are without caring about who they are. Because can I really change that? Can I really alter their course? Do I have the right to even ask? So now I'm more in a place of observer. I'm the inimitable observer. In fact, I've always been that way. Where I used to feel very sort of out of the realm of being a part of, but I've always been a part of. I've just been a more distant observant kind. And I think that gives people space. It allows them to learn through their own process. And it gives me patience for myself, which is something that has taken me a lifetime to learn. Because when you are sort of taking in this picture that could be really unsettling your mood, if you like, or trying to push you in ways that you don't really want to be pushed, to have that centered place where you can just go, oh, that's interesting, and to not really be moved by it in any way at all, that is an amazing thing. And that's what I'm working more toward now, is to just be able to say, yeah, that's really interesting. I may have not considered that before. Not right or wrong, not better or worse, not yours or mine, not this way or that way. Just, oh, give that some thought, or oh, I might consider that, or, but your way is not the only way.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot, what you're saying, of how I learned to be a better teacher. And that was to realize in the end, the kids were going to teach something to themselves, maybe because of a situation that we were all in. But it's really hard to think that you can tell anybody anything, or make them do anything. And when I finally gave them a lot more rope than they were used to, once said to me, you give us a lot, so much rope, we can pull ourselves up or trip over it. And I said, yeah, that's how we learn. Yeah, so enough about commas and semicolons. Let's see if we can figure out on our own when they're useful. Not that they didn't have resources, but they had to teach themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that approach.
Yeah, allowing yourself to learn, like if you're a student and you're in a class and you have the teacher up front, allowing yourself to learn the information, and it has a lot of the same qualities as allowing the love to come through and allowing yourself to be loved or to
And to
feel
be
love,
loved,
experience love. Yeah.
be loved, be loved. Yeah, they say that Earth is one of the places where souls go to school. And it's not our job to interfere with someone else's learning.
And sometimes, go ahead, Renee.
Lots of remedial lessons required, which means that you don't graduate, you kind of go back and go, oh, Christ, I thought I did that one already ad nauseum, but here I am back at square one, facing the same thing again. I thought I learned that one. Whoops, I guess not.
Oh yeah, I've had that experience many times. It's like, why am I doing this again? Yeah,
Learning it again.
yeah, yeah.
But that's how you also learn compassion,
Mhm.
not for others, but for yourself. And you can say, well, you're really not in the same place in the river twice. So they say you never step into the same place in the river twice. So that means I'm really not in the same place. It may appear that I am, but no, because I'm really not. I'm not seeing it from the same perspective yet. I have some perspective, maybe not all. I don't have the whole picture there. Yeah, but I'm gaining perspective.
Yeah.
Forward.
Yeah. Perspective is priceless.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so many of the things we learn in other aspects of our spiritual exploration, like stepping away from fear, when we see that often people are behaving in ways that are not lovable, it's because they are acting out of fear. And that's a good reminder to us that in our own behavior, when we do things that make us later cringe, to remind ourselves, oh, I was unloving because I was afraid of something. Let's think about what it was that I thought I was afraid of. Like, somebody's going to get to the buffet before I do, for example.
Right. And that self-love too, that self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
That's also so important. And another kind of step in the process, of us learning. Oh, go ahead, Mir.
I was going to ask you, Barb, what are you going to take forward with you from that experience at the party?
Well, what I'm still feeling and noticing is kind of an increased vibration and a lightness from it, just and the the reminder that love is so comforting. I mean, it just feels so good. And it's so easy, I mean, it's easy. People got up and just shared from their heart, and, no holds barred. And it was it was just such an example of how to be in this world. So what I'm going to carry with me or keep from that, I think, is just more of the same, and I know it won't be like that every minute of my life, but because I still am, human. But it is a beautiful reminder,
Yeah.
and I just feel it almost like it's just off to my side or something, just kind of like aura or shadow or something that's just kind of still with me.
A memory companion.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just so extraordinary because so often those occasions turn into roasts. Like, oh, I remember when you were 5 years old and you did this stupid thing. But
yeah.
now, yeah, but it wasn't that way.
Not at all. No, it was all just so beautiful. Yeah, and so loving, and just such a joyful, yeah, just such a joyful event. And yeah, it was.
Was this for a close family member or
No,
who grad?
actually, surprisingly, it wasn't. It was for my next door neighbor who we're friendly with, but not super close to. And my husband and I were actually even a little reluctant to go because it was like way across town. And we're like, oh, okay, we'll go and stay for, half hour, 45 minutes. And then we ended up being there for 3 hours, and time just like zipped by. And it was just such a wonderful experience. And I just felt so grateful to be included in it, and so grateful just to have experienced it. It's just another little reminder of the beauty of the universe and our existence here, and how we can walk through life,
Yeah,
carrying and remembering that, just to love.
yeah.
So, and I think it's almost time to end. So if anyone has any last minute thoughts or comments on that.
Well, just thank you for sharing that beautiful story. I'm basking in your glow.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what I was doing all day yesterday, was just basking in it. It was, yeah. So, well, thanks everybody for being with us today. And next week, I think Julie will be back, and she'll be hosting. And I would look forward to seeing you again. So thanks. And thanks, Renee and Louis Trace and Gordy, for joining us. And we'll see you again. So take care, everybody. I'm going to
Bye.
stop the
Okay.
recording.
Bye-bye. Love you all.
Yes.